Here at Be Freaking Awesome, we believe that life is too short to be anything less than extraordinary. Join us as we explore what it means to live authentically, grow continuously, and have a blast while doing it. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Be Freaking Awesome. I'm one of your hosts, Sami Kinnison, here with Angela Belford. And today we are having a conversation with Dominique Blake, who Angela met not too long ago, but from everything I hear, just fangirl, so excited, loving all the things. Angela, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you
Heck
know
yeah.
Dom, or do you
Of
want...
course.
Okay,
Of
go for it.
course. I love it. I love it. When you know an Olympian, you got to get to brag about it. Anyway, I had many of you that have listened to the podcast and follow me on social know that I had the distinct pleasure of getting to be one of the speaker coaches for TEDx Bentonville, which, if you've ever dreamed of giving a TED Talk when you get to be the coach that walks alongside people as they are literally living their dream and checking a bucket list off, it's humbling, and it is also very rewarding. And so my first night there, I get sat down to listen, and one of the speakers looks me dead in the eye and says, "You are lazy." And that began Dominique and I's friendship.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is 100% true.
She eased up a little by the time we got to the TEDx stage. I was like, I don't still have the audience with you after the first 3 words. But anyway, so Dominique, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history and what brought you to the TED stage?
Yes. So I'll try to make it as compacted as possible. I born in New York, raised in Kingston, Jamaica, moved back to New York for high school, went to Penn State University. My dream in life was just to really become an Olympic medalist. So every single day, or not every single day, but every career day from kindergarten to high school, I dressed up as the same thing. In my mind, I was determined, and it happened, right? I was an Olympic medalist every career day. So everybody knew wasn't going to be anything different. And so that took me to, getting a bronze medalist for Team Jamaica at the 2012 Olympic Games. I would say, let's see, from 2012, moved to Atlanta just to really learn everything I could possibly learn about entrepreneurship. And that's when I leaned into connecting the bridge or the gap between sports, wellness, the thing that I'm most passionate about, and business and duplication and helping other people by teaching other people what I do that are also passionate about wellness in almost any capacity. But it's kind of like that starving artist mentality. You don't always get the business person in the artist. You know what I mean? So my job, I figured out, was really just allowing people to authentically be themselves through their deepest passion. And if you happen to join my team, obviously I can spend more time with you, but that kind of grew legs into business consulting and personal self-development consulting as well. So here I am. 2025, I moved to Northwest Arkansas in 2016. September 15th, 2016 was my first day here. And, simultaneously balancing being a serial entrepreneur and a professional athlete. My shoe company was Adidas. Nobody believed me that I was going to 3-a-day practices and running multiple businesses. I don't even know how I did that. I wouldn't sign up for that again, but ignorance is bliss. And so that's one of those things when you're driven by your passion, it doesn't matter. Anything is possible. Because whether you're making $0 or $1 million, you wake up with the same excitement. So here we are. I hope that was a good little nutshell of an explanation.
I loved that.
I mean, we could stop now. Like, everybody could just put this on repeat. Like, this is how I love your philosophy, and I've watched your work ethic through this whole process.
Yes.
So I love that. So Dominique, I would say that sounds like a lot of positivity,
Yeah.
and which I love, and a lot of energy. But it's not the toxic positivity. It's not the fake positivity,
No,
right?
not at all. We can go there.
Yeah. How did you get to such an authentic and strong, um, true authentic positivity?
Great question. Getting my feelings crushed Nobody
Mhm.
gains anything terrific in this life without getting your feelings hurt. That usually comes by losing all your money, getting your heart broken, not having any food, and being told no, based on something that you really love and really want. You go ahead and tell for the rest of the week, or for 5 days, tell people no and see what happens, see how they treat you. Right. So I really start to fall into um, failing, rejection, all those words, in my mind, I don't really process it as something negative. The first was, my federation telling me, oh, by the way, you tested some positive for something in the same category as coffee, and we're going to suspend you. What? Me? Suspended? Are you kidding me? So,
Mm.
that really shook me up because that was my only source of income as a professional athlete. And I thought to myself, they created a monster after. It hurt so bad. And so that ignited a certain kind of monster in me that the world has today that could never have been born through anything else. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. They're both phenomenal people. And I grew up watching them turn their fun activities into streams of income, right? So my brain, I don't really process work as work. I just figure out what I like and figure out how to help people and to create a system that can provide revenue behind it. So sports is my thing. Federations like you tested positive for something in the same category as coffee. We're going to try and take your career away from you. Crazy. Had to hire scientists, lawyers, because at this point, it's kind of about the sports, but now it's about my integrity and my credibility. So, won my appeal, got back into sports, and this time it was different. Why was it different? Because now I understood I can't rely ever on one source of income to support my life or the people that I love and care about. So now we're at 20. Let's see, that happened 2012, and I'm back on the track 2016, going into 17. I ended up running and competing faster than I did when I won my Olympic medal. That's
Mm.
the burning sensation of proving a point that you're not going to dictate how my career goes. I'm going to leave on my own terms after I feel like I'm done with it, right? Now today, when people say, "Do you miss it?" I'm like, you know what? I'm a professional cheerleader. I got all the goodie out of it. I've been running since kindergarten until almost age 32. I got all the goodie out of it. Right. And so that segued into um, just my ability to have fun with community, build and curate relationships the way I see fit. Just because I kind of had that experience being an athlete and having companies hop on board for sponsorships. So, I was lucky enough to do it simultaneously where they said, okay, wow, you own a gym. We have access to that? Can we provide you treadmills? Can we sponsor you over here? Because they're in the same neighborhood. And Northwest Arkansas has been the most phenomenal place on the planet to be an entrepreneur and have a rich community. So I tell people all the time in 2016, nobody believed me. I'm the person telling everybody, looking into the forest and seeing the city, this place is going to be this for this. Nobody listened. And here we are in 2025 with it being like the number one city to relocate to in America, right? So my journey has been phenomenal. I'm still having fun. And for me, that's the most important thing. And being able to teach people how to connect fun with community, family, and whatever your passion is. So
Dominique, I want to ask a question, but maybe take a little bit of a tangent to get there. For my
yes,
own journey, something that I have struggled with in recent years is that I spent a lot of time in my life motivated by proving other people wrong, and like
yes, me too.
the desire to like, you're gonna say this about me, I will prove you wrong.
Yes,
And in my healing journey, I'm releasing a lot of that. I don't have to do things because I need to prove to somebody else. I want to do things for my own self, and I want to do things for because it's for me. And there's sometimes less value on like the judgments or assessments from other people. They really are starting to mean a lot less. And I'm like, neato, mosquito, that's your opinion of me. And I'm like, I have a mission that I'm going after, and I'm not going to let myself get distracted from what I'm
Yes.
chasing to
Yes.
go prove you wrong on whatever point it is. How
Mhm.
do you navigate that tension of proving people wrong, but then also kind of being fueled by your own drive and mission?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Great question. First thing I'll say is two things can be true at the same time, right? You
Fair.
get to dictate what your best fuel is, right?
Mhm.
So the thing that's going to override all of that, so you can stop judging yourself, because I still use that to this day. We all have narcissistic traits, right?
Mhm.
And there's no real need to get rid of that if it makes you this genius and the person that's going to be at the head of the, ahead of the curve and keep you sharp. Life is what's a necessity in life for success is accountability and disappointment. Don't run away from disappointment, failures, or getting your feelings hurt. That's what's wrong with everybody in 2025. We need to be
Mm.
politically correct and no, 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 no. Bring back shame. Bring back shame. Nobody wanted to be the stinky kid. Nobody wanted to be the person that was at the back of the line and slow and not being chosen in dodgeball. Bring back shame. It will keep you in line, right? So
Mm.
my thing is, I can strike the balance, and you can only strike the balance when you do the hard things by yourself every day with discipline. If you're in the best shape of your life, if you're mastering basic skills in life by yourself every day, like communication, accountability, monitoring your circle, making sure that you're keeping people around you that can teach you something. All of these things in those little buckets will create a bulletproof sense of confidence that it really doesn't matter, because that's where your sense of self and confidence will come from. Nothing can penetrate that. If you can sit in that ice bath or push children out of into this world, you know, through your lady parts, who's going to tell me something? Nobody. I did that hard thing. Did you do it? Probably not if you're a man. You know, do you sit in the ice tub every morning for 2 minutes? No, you don't. So, all these little things, you start to play psychological games with yourself to get the edge. So, in doing hard things in the moment, it probably pisses you off. But long term, for the rest of your life, you never forget it. And it's positive trauma, positive toxic traits, positive PTSD. You know what I mean? So I look for those, and I look for little pockets of and spaces to be uncomfortable to get the edge, because I love being one of one, you know? That
Mm.
I'm addicted to. I don't care what it is. Like, as long as I can do it in my life and it can help me with the long-term picture and goal, I'm doing it.
All right. All right. So I don't know if you've seen very many episodes. We've just been friends for a few weeks, so you probably don't know this about us, but we
Yeah.
are willing to be contrarians on here.
Woo!
And so I hope you're
Be
okay. Bringing
careful.
the contrarian here, contrarian thoughts. Um, Number one is first of all, I do agree with you that we need to learn to do hard things well. Number two, I want a different word for bring back the shame, because the
Yep.
literal definition of shame is believing that there is something wrong with you. And I don't think that's the word that you were trying to use when you say
Yes.
nobody wanted to be the stinky kid. So I'm not sure exactly what the word is, but I think what you're saying is that there
Self-awareness.
are there are situations in our life that we can use other people to be a mirror for the things that we need to improve upon, right? Like being the stinky kid, or being the rude kid, or whatever it is. Like the idea of like when somebody says you should be ashamed of yourself, I'm like, screw you. No, I'm never going to be ashamed of myself, because there's nothing wrong with me. And so I think this is a language thing on the thing. I do think there are situations where I get myself in a situation, and I do something and I embarrass myself. I make somebody else feel bad. I don't act in a way that is in alignment with my character. And I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely need to use that as fuel to be better. Right. So
Right.
I say that guilt absolutely has a beautiful role in our life, because it brings to us an opportunity where we need to ask for forgiveness, where we need to reconcile with people. We need to reconcile with ourselves. Um, so I
I
Go
I
ahead.
want to add a little bit. I heard about this recently that I like the concept. Somebody was making an argument of why we need to bring back a little bit of bullying, and the statement was they said by all means there is a level of bullying that is absolutely unacceptable. Filling up the girl's water bottle with urine and like things like that. Like nobody's being
Yeah.
helped with that. There
Right.
is an element that like you are like rude and you're not fun to play with. You don't play well with others. So no, we're not going to play the game with like you're not allowed to play the game with us because when you play, you make it all about you and we don't all want to play a game that's all about you. So you got to go play by yourself. Like that there is a sandpapering that happens to smooth us out to be better community members. That
Yes.
like that kind of childhood bullying air quotes with you kind of make some better people where it's like no you can't just be rude if you're the middle schooler who keeps asking out girls to go on dates and you keep getting rejected. Learn from it, change it,
Right.
stop being creepy and weird about it, do it in a better way. Anyway, like there's some element of if you want to be independent and all on your own, maybe lonely, and like that's your goal, then fine, don't care what anybody else thinks. But if you want to be in community and you want to be with other people, there
Mhm.
are things that are better about
Yes.
how you can behave to be a
Yeah.
better community member, whether you're 7,
Sure.
Yes.
17, or 77.
Yeah.
Let
I
that
think
refinement. So I think that it sounds like we're saying the same things. So it's
I
the
think
yes.
words
so.
that are
I just
I
want us to red flag on the
clarify
word
the
shame.
word.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's also safe to agree. We can agree to disagree, especially when you're coming from different mindsets and different cultures. Different
Mhm.
cultures, I mean, the FAG word over in England is something totally different than it is here. As we move forward in time, the mindset and words also shift. You know what I mean? Generationally, it also shifts. So, so here's what I'm going to say. Um, I I'm speaking from a developmental space, from childhood, not necessarily in the place where we're adults. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I think that it sinks in a little bit deeper and connects to who you become as an adult when you experience certain things as a child. If you can nip certain things in the bud as a child, society doesn't have to worry about you as an adult. Shame for me and speaking to children a certain way, I just needed to experience something once as a child to never, ever, ever experience it again ever in life. You know what I mean? That alpha phase when the brain is open and receptive and being really molded to who we're going to become, for me is as I'm getting older, I'm learning it's pivotal. So that's why they say if you're going to get a divorce, do it before the kid's 3 because the memory bank isn't there. And so you only have a certain amount of time to really develop who someone is going to become because after 12, 13, it's almost too late. You know what I mean? So all these things and feeling a little bit ashamed or doing things knowingly as a child. I knew this was wrong, but I'm committed to doing it anyway. Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I needed to hear why so that I never did it again. So I don't run away from that, Angela. I do understand where you're coming from, and words are very important, especially in 2025. So that's my 2 cents on that. More so from a developmental space and receiving the understanding and the lesson,
And
so
I
we don't have to deal
do
with that. Hmm.
I feel like so as somebody I have 3 small children, and I do subscribe to, like, gentle parenting styles, but I do think it's misunderstood, um,
Yes.
and there is necessity for, like, stern correction,
Yes.
and that does not mean that I personally am gonna, like, yell at my child. We don't use
Right.
spankings, we don't do things like that, but I also each kid is different. My oldest child, like, if I was to say the words, "I am
Yeah.
very disappointed in you," I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
That's
equivalent
all I
of,
needed.
like
Yeah.
3 or 4 big
Tragic.
spankings, like, as a kid.
I
Like, I
would
mean, that's
prefer that.
I would prefer the spankings to being told that I'm
Yeah.
being disappointed. Like, I
Right.
mean, it is a sharp redirection. I did not have to raise my voice. I did not have to
Yes.
get dysregulated in my nervous
Right.
system, and yet I can still make that adjustment. I think that, like,
And
what
then yet
people
the
wanna
second
get
one.
Yes.
oh, the second
Yeah.
one,
I'm
I don't know
disappointed.
how to do the
Big
second one
Yeah.
yet.
deal. I
Yeah.
don't even care that you're what you think about me.
How about
It
how
is
about
really
this?
tricky.
My
I don't know what
mom
to do
my
with them.
mom got it down to such a science that it was only a look. And
Yeah.
I didn't even need words,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And so I'm picking up instantly what she's putting down. And I'm like, nope, don't want those consequences. Nope. I know
Right.
what that
Yep.
comes with. No, don't have time for it. I need to go
Yeah.
play outside.
And then my sister, my youngest sister, we were 3 of us, I
Mhm.
distinctly remember one time, she
Oh
got
my
2
gosh.
spankings. I heard it from the other room, like, we heard the 2
That's
spankings,
it.
and she yelled, "That didn't hurt." And we were like, "Oh, no! Like, you don't say that! You
No,
count your
you
blessings and
didn't.
you walk away!" Anyway, I
Right.
think I have
You know
learned
what's
from
funny
my
is
friend
that
Angela's that was about the day where she was like, "Alright, great, spankings is not an effective punishment for her anymore."
Right.
yep, yep, we had to stop spanking that day because I was
Yeah.
like, I would we're gonna this will be unpleasant. Okay,
Emotional
so
dysregulation occurred.
Yeah.
I was the point I was gonna lead to, though, is that when we're correcting, I do think a better way to go about it, especially when working with kids, if you are in a state of emotional or nervous system dysregulation, you're not gonna be able to be your best self to provide that correction and to get
Right.
somebody pointed in the right way, and so
oh my gosh,
regulate yourself.
that was one of the things that had to do was and we were young parents, was like, um, if you broke a rule and I was mad, like, sometimes my husband was the one to give you the discipline because it's like,
Yeah.
it's not anger. It doesn't
Right.
matter. You broke the rule. That
Right.
anger is not what's driving that. We talk a lot about perfectionism on this
Sure.
podcast, and I'm super curious about what your relationship is to perfectionism, what your journey
Okay.
has been like, and what are your thoughts?
I'm a big believer in balance, right?
Mm,
I think that there are a couple people in this world that really get to strike the balance because of how their brain is developed. Elite athletes are one of them. People in the military, that's another group. People that grew up on a farm, and people that specialize in, you know, engineering. You're always looking at both sides, right? Because there's immediate cause effect, and you can see it clearly. If I don't show up to practice, if I don't go to the weight room, if I don't eat properly, this is what's going to happen. And it's coming very soon. So there's not a long period for me to have to wait to figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm type A, I'm Aquarius, probably as close to, I don't want to say a psychopath. Um, I wake up every day leaving nothing to chance and executing to the best of my ability because I believe in myself. And so for me, after that, it's up to the powers that be, the universe, God, whoever you pray to, right? So how I get over the disappointment of not being perfect, as long as I'm putting my best effort forward, I'm okay with that. I let the chips fall where they may because I do
mhm,
understand that there is something beyond me and bigger than me that's in control of my journey. And sometimes I'm being protected from what I can't see. That's ultimately what's supposed to happen. Right. So that not it always protects me from being disappointed. But the only time I'm not confident or I'm like kind of beating myself up is when I didn't give my all.
mm.
Right. So if I knew that I was going to be late here with a meeting with you ladies today and I just didn't text you to give you a heads up, and for some reason we didn't get to record today, I would be like, man, I dropped the ball on that. They're probably never going to work with me again. All this stuff that goes on in the mind. But no, I gave you hours to say, hey, what I need to exchange whatever information that I needed to share
Yeah.
with you. And it allowed for us to have effective communication to build one better credibility with each other because now I see and you see that we can trust each other to give each other a heads up to prepare. You now know that I care for you. So there's all these little things that come with preparation for execution whenever it is beforehand. You know what I mean? Life's
Mhm.
gonna life. So what are we gonna do about it if we can't be perfect every time with exactly what we plan for? So that's how I go about it, and it allows you to relax and it sells your nervous system. Nobody has time to want to be perfect all the time because it's not possible.
Well, and I could imagine as an athlete, though, the temptation is there. The
Oh
if
yes, you
I
have to the
and
mindset. Yeah,
right, and if you're running a race and if you are like, "Man, I gave it every single thing that I had, but it
that's it.
wasn't enough because" and then your head, you're saying, "It wasn't enough because I didn't
Yep,
get first."
yep.
That's a brutal path to walk, whereas
So
there can be, I've got opportunities to grow. I have opportunity, like, this is an area that I need to build my skills so that I can
Yeah.
compete better. But at the
Yes.
end of the day, if I did everything that I had within my power and I didn't win, like, then okay, then that didn't happen that day. I'm still proud
Right.
of the work I put on the field, the table, in the business, whatever it might be.
You know what, ladies? And here's what I'll say. That's where great coaching and parenting and mindset training comes in, right? Having great
Mm,
mentors. When you're a kid and you don't get what you want every time, that happens.
mhm,
And with great coaching, with great mentorship, you start to develop a mindset to understand, hey, today for me, tomorrow for you. We can't win them all. Now, what you just said, to your point, if I've done every single thing I could possibly do to achieve my goal and I just fell short, that's okay. That gives me
mhm,
fuel and motivation for the next time because another race is coming up. So it
mhm,
gives me the opportunity to kind of work through the kinks to get to the big day, which is world championships, the Olympics, when, something's on the line in a major way. So here's what I'll say. Um, the disappointment of experiencing a staff member that has done some crazy things inside my business. I am so grateful. Oh man, I'll give you an example. I had someone I hired here, phenomenal coach, world class athlete, amazing. And until he decided to steal, and, I went all the way. I tell people all the time, accountability doesn't just stop at my words. I will take my mother to court. I might be paying for her lawyer, but it's the principle, right? Right. So, I learned that my contracts were weak. Oh man, if it had not been for him, I may have had $100 million headache years down the line. But
mm,
I experienced that with him so early on that I went to my attorney, submitted all the paperwork that I was using within my businesses. We ripped them all up and we created such a beautiful bulletproof system in terms of how we operate, and it allowed for optimizations and systems to work so much better. I thank that guy every day. He was an angel sent in disguise. Seriously, you know?
Wow.
So I always look at things that are supposed to hurt my feelings or tear me apart. And I'm like, okay, what's the good here? How
Mm,
can we turn this into something magical? What's the lesson? As soon as possible. I want to hurry up and fail in that way. So,
I love that.
I love that too. I share a similar belief that all things will come together for good in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
Sometimes I get to the benefit of knowing about it, sometimes I don't,
Yeah.
which is neat to see that every now and I just then know and trust that I can go about the world and I interact with others knowing maybe I was the good in their story today, that
Yeah.
everything went wrong and
Yeah.
that kindness that I offered, like
Mhm.
the little bit that I have or the lot that I have,
Wait,
I know
Sammy,
it'll
what
all
about
come
when you're the
back.
villain? What about when you're the villain? Because we're all the
Oh,
villain in somebody's story.
isn't that
And
something?
I am the villain in somebody's story right now. I was like, I'll just share. I don't mind sharing.
Yeah.
I just recently got to finalize the adoption for my daughter, and there's a different family member from her birth family that I am their villain. And it is hard and it is not fun to just get to like have all sorts of things thrown my way and
Uh-huh.
all I what we have decided to do, there's a lot of people who are like, block them, cancel them, get rid of them, cut them off.
Yeah.
I offer kindness when I am not offered the same. And that is our commitment now, is just repeated kindness no matter what is sent our way. And
Yeah.
doing the best thing to protect our daughter and be there for her as well.
There
And
we
so
go.
holding boundaries for her, but also not returning. I treat people how I want to be treated, not how they're treating
That's
me.
right.
And it is hard sometimes when somebody's treating you not so kindly, and you just really
Right.
want to just dish it right back. But
Right.
yeah, anyway, that's all I'm doing is just offering kindness with
Well,
sort of
good for
a
you.
hope and a
Yeah.
prayer for redemption one day. We'll see. Still stay tuned for
All
that
right. I'm gonna
epilogue.
come back with the update. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations as well on
Thank
the
you.
adoption.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Dominique, if you could leave our listeners with one thing that you hope that they take and can implement in their life, what would that one thing be?
Well, I'm not going to be stingy. I'm going to give them two. The most important, the most important one is you can literally be, do, and have anything you want in this life. The universe isn't on a budget. Most humans are. So once you develop a bulletproof system to achieve that, you can really attain anything you can conceive, see, or even dream about. So the second thing is I'm going to leave everyone with telling them they need to follow me on Instagram. Slide in my DMs if you need a dose of motivation. You can follow me on Instagram at Dominique V Blake. And so you'll find all my socials there. But we have a good time. And so once in a while, I gift free training. So if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, I would love to meet you. We're in Bentonville, Fayetteville, but we're virtual, local, and mobile. So hopefully one day, I saw you on a bike this past weekend.
That's right.
Angela, yeah. So
Yep.
that made me happy. So I'll stay tuned to see your workout regimen, Sami.
I will say that my bike rides have not been taking me up to Bentonville these days with 3 kiddos, but we're
Right.
doing the little 5-mile loop around our
Hey,
house
as
with
long as it's
the
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
For
Good.
sure.
Get your steps in.
That's right.
I love
Thank
Yeah,
you
it.
so that's mine too.
so. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
joining us. And thank you, everybody, for
Absolutely.
listening. I'm just
Yeah.
so glad that each of you guys are here and a part of the journey with us. And until next time, everyone, we hope you guys go be freaking awesome.
Woohoo!